With Codename 47 being a great success, IO quickly got to work on their next title in the series, Silent Assassin, now with even larger ambitions, this time having the PS2 and Xbox original as the focus for development. During the creation of Codename 47, IO were unable to get their hands on developer kits, hence why the game was a PC exclusive. So now being able to develop Silent Assassin for consoles, IO felt more at home since most of the team prior to the creation of the studio were console devs.
Codename 47 really showed that we were console developers. We didn't consider save options. On consoles at the time, you were given codes that would allow you to skip levels that you had already completed. Also, the keyboard layout was all messed up. Still, one of the good things that was brought over from consoles was the third-person perspective.
Like Codename 47, it's going to take some work to get this running properly on modern hardware in 16:9, although it's going to need a few more steps. Like last time, you're going to need to edit the INI files, but if you stop there, you run the risk of characters losing textures mid-mission, along with some other bugs I ran into like cutscenes not playing or the game running at weird speeds. So you're going to need to download these two files and place them into wherever you have the game downloaded to. Simply drag and drop and you should be good to go. Like the quote mentioned earlier, this game has a far more conventional control scheme, so you don't have to mess around with it at the beginning unless you really don't like it. Codename 47 I would consider is a diamond in the rough, so with Silent Assassin, IO really stepped up their game with mechanical innovation, fixing issues with design choices, and making excellent quality of life changes. New stealth implementations include crouching and crouch walking, so you can now hide behind medium-sized objects like crates or behind doors and doorways to abuse the game's AI so they don't spot you. The ability to look through keyholes, allowing you to peer into rooms and hallways ahead to see where the guards are looking or if they have left the area. The ability to pick locks, which allows for more non-linear and interesting indoor level design. Anesthetics, allowing for non-lethal takedowns, leaving NPCs unconscious based on the amount of pips in the top right corner you use, maxing out at the total of 5 minutes of unconsciousness. A first-person mode, giving you better accuracy with aiming for headshots with pistols and smaller firearms. The first-person mode really reminds me of the FPS mode in Star Wars Battlefront 2, and how while it's usable, it does feel a bit awkward, clearly showing that this game wasn't being made as an FPS in mind first. A suspicion meter, so you know how close you are to causing an alert. The faster it pulses while turning red and filling up the entire bar means that you're being closer and closer to being discovered. The way disguises work has also changed. Previously in Codename 47, once you were in disguise, enemies would never detect you, but now in Silent Assassin, if you act too suspicious, your cover will be blown. Basically, if you run around in your costumes or bump into people, you're going to be discovered. While a neat idea to add a layer of complexity to stealth, I find it more infuriating than anything else due to the game's AI, which I will go more in depth with in just a minute. Other additions include Diana now being voiced, instead of you just reading the mission description before a level, the now iconic end of mission rating system that grades you based on your skills, an overhauled inventory system with 3D models to display your items along with an in-depth description of them, a real-time map which allows you to see enemies moving around on the floor, which kind of invalidates looking through keyholes for the most part, except when you're trying to check enemies' postures in the same spot to know if they would see you if you open a door, like this room in Shogun Showdown. The church where 47 lives in Sicily now functions as your hub, allowing you to test and use weapons collected on missions freely on the dummy in the yard. This is where you will be picking out your tools to take each time you change locations for missions, so make sure you pick everything you think you will need before going, because you won't get another chance again. Sadly, some of the randomness in levels has stayed over from Codename 47, like in the mission Invitation to the Party, where the safe can be in multiple different areas. Compared to Codename 47's 13 levels, Silent Assassin is sporting 21. Now, while on paper, more levels is a good thing, but a lot of them fall into the same trap of level design that I feel is really holding this game back. Like I mentioned in my opening statement, the game is far more ambitious than its predecessor, so the game doesn't only have almost double the levels, most of them are double if not triple the size. But this is the 6th gen we're talking about here. It's still going to be another 10 years before massively populated levels with tons of active NPCs and many moving parts with Absolution, or 4 years if you're being generous with the Mardi Gras level in Blood Money. So while some of these levels are impressive in size for the PS2, they end up being very barren. The Russian and Japanese levels are an excellent example of this. In St. Petersburg, you need to find a vantage point to snipe a general in a war meeting, which is a classic assassin-styled mission. But when you start in the subway and then make your way through the town, you run into maybe 2 or 3 NPCs, and most of the buildings are just for show, functionally just big square rocks to get in your way or work as cover. The contents in the level themselves never really justify the size of them. This issue is even more noticeable after finishing the Japanese levels, having you go through massive snowy valleys to going to a hotel in Malaysia, which are way more compact and filled with things to do. The contrast here is so night and day between the first and second halves of the game, it's astonishing. A lot of the levels have cool ideas in theory. The market of Afghanistan is a cool setting, but again, it's so needlessly big that I feel like if it was more compact with higher amount of things to do, it would leave a larger lasting impression. Just having the market squares and maybe a few streets around it would work far better, because as is, it's just a big maze with 2 empty lots in the center. The other issue that goes hand in hand with the oversized level design is the game's AI. I've alluded to it up until now, but replaying this game for the video, the AI seemed worse than I ever remembered. They just do random shit for no rhyme or reason, and most of the time I couldn't even discern why, ranging from enemies alerting for no reason, guards from across the map would hunt you down to check your ID, or somehow see a crime you committed when you're in an isolated room. Guards would come up to kill you for no reason. Guards would stop their walk cycles and stand in one place forever, so you need to either close the game or reload it enough times to when they're starting to walk again. Enemies would see you through walls or be trapped in walls, so they can see into 2 rooms at once and clip into either or at any time. The Japanese levels were a nightmare for this. Hidden Valley is probably the worst level in the entire series, excluding anything from Absolution because that's its own can of worms. I honestly struggle to think of any level off the top of my head as bad as this level. Not only is it a massive empty canyon that you either need to run through or go through the underground tunnel to get to the other side, but it's chock full of bugs. There are snipers in towers that will spot you from far away, so you need to use the forest to your advantage, waiting for them to either turn around or check their gun, but even then they still somehow spot you on occasion. Now for these videos I tried to perfect every mission, getting Silent Assassin rating, killing no one except for the targets, but this level broke me of ever trying to do that, and just made it downright impossible to do so, where in the underground tunnels trucks will be driving and one of them will hit one of the guards, killing them and giving you an alert. There is no way to stop this from happening to my knowledge, you just have to get lucky and hope the truck doesn't kill one of the tunnel guards on patrol. But there's also another bug where the trucks will just stop driving, making it nearly impossible to finish the level since you need them to disperse the guard's checkpoint. The final mission of the Japanese section, Shogun Showdown, also is another level that shows off just how buggy this game is. This level must have taken me 50 attempts to try to get Silent Assassin before I realized it was impossible and just gave up. This level has tons of NPCs that will chase you down from across the map. My theory is because this level has a gimmick where you have to be careful for squeaky floorboards that will alert guards, so possibly all guards are programmed to hear this and are affected by this in this level. It's the only reason I could come up with for why random guards in the helipad would somehow hear me drop a gun in a stone-lined hidden hallway to come kill me. When I mentioned earlier that guards randomly would come to kill you when listing off all the bugs, this was the main level that this would happen to me. You just have to get lucky that they won't aggro as soon as they lay their eyes on you. Walls also don't exist to NPCs in this level, since they are able to just walk between them whenever they feel like it, and it's the main reason why this level cannot be completed with a Silent Assassin rating. This ninja here is supposed to be on the banister above, but for some reason he's stuck in the wall below and will automatically aggro as soon as he sees you and try to kill you, giving you an alert. Seriously, fuck these levels. I know this must seem polarizing with the title of the video being Realized Potential, but there are some really solid levels in the game that I would come back to play from time to time. If only the AI was fixed, the biggest issue with the game would be no longer there, and admittedly this isn't much of an issue for people who use saves and don't OCD try to play the game perfectly when realistically they're all acceptable methods of playing this game. Following the ending of Codename 47, killing his creator Dr. Ortmeyer and his army of Agent 48 clones, 47 has retired from the ICA and now lives a quiet life as a gardener for a church in Sicily, run by Father Vittorio. After learning about the origins of his creation, 47 has become confused and conflicted, and confides in Vittorio. Being created as a weapon to kill people, he can't find a place in this world for himself. Meanwhile, Sergei Zavortko, the brother of one of the founding fathers of the cloning project, so that technically makes him 47's uncle, is investigating the death of his brother. So this leads him and the mystery man to the Romanian asylum from the last game. They discover footage of 47 killing members of the SWAT team, and they realize that the legend of Mr. 47 is very much real, and begin to concoct a plan to bring him out of his early retirement for their own gain. After 47 finally opens his heart to Vittorio, he is kidnapped and held for ransom of $500,000. 47 doesn't have that kind of money anymore due to donating most of his to the church, so he has no other choice but to turn to the ICA to ask a favor. Getting back into contact with Diana, they're able to strike a deal, having him work contracts for the ICA, and in return they will get information on the whereabouts of where Vittorio is being kept. Now sprung back into action, 47 travels the world following orders of the ICA, hoping that this mutual relationship will bring him closer to saving his one and only friend. The location choices in this game are all great. The varying locations have always been one of the standout features of Hitman. Your journey brings you to the snowy town of St. Petersburg, a snowy valley of Japan, a massive skyscraper in Malaysia, and multiple markets in Afghanistan, as well as multiple medical facilities in India. Though the game upon release did receive criticism for its depiction of Sikh Holy Land, where in 1984 hundreds of people were massacred, so subsequent releases of the game censored all depictions of Shiva and were replaced with the face texture of the cult leader you were hired to kill. After finishing your final hit in India, during your escape you run into an assassin that looks just like you. But that can't be right. You killed all the Agent 48 clones back in Romania during the last game. It turns out that all of your contracts up until now have been made by Sergey. See, this whole time you were killing people that were involved with him buying a nuclear warhead, along with the materials you had been recovering for missions, like in the Malaysia hits were software that would allow the nuclear warheads to bypass the American anti-missile systems. But the cult leader ended up betraying Sergey and stealing it for himself, which is why you were hired to kill him, and why during your escape from the island you ran into what appears to be another clone so he could tie up all the loose ends. Now the ICA has tasked you with killing Sergey, having you travel back to the start of the game in St. Petersburg, but when you get there it turns out to be a trap and you end up killing Agent 17, a clone that predated Agent 47's creation, so he has none of the physical enhancements along with no will of his own. Now for your final mission you are taken back to Sicily to finish off Sergey, while he has Father Vittorio held hostage in the confession booth. Trying to stealth this mission is actually really hard, since you only start with a fiber wire, but you're able to make your way to the shed and use all of the weapons in your arsenal that you have collected on your missions up until now. It's a great way to end your game, allowing the player to use everything they've learned through their progression through your game. Thematically, I think that the end of Codename 47 with you fighting all the Agent 48 clones is better, but mechanically I think this is the better ending. After saving Vittorio from Sergey, 47 says he must leave, and Vittorio gives him a parting gift of a crucifix to always remember the good in people. But as 47 leaves the church, he hangs up the crucifix, saying that the only thing that he will take with him from this is the memories of those who betrayed him and those who never failed his trust. He accepts that he has no place in this normal world and will never be able to find true peace for himself, returning to his life as a contract killer, saying he will follow his own path now and create his own justice, as the shot hangs on the crucifix and the credits begin to roll. To date, Silent Assassin is still the best critically received game in the series, sitting at an 87 on Metacritic, reviewers citing that it fixed most of the issues present in Codename 47. Although it is still weird that the story just completely left out who the mystery man was, only ever reappearing in the background of Hitman Sniper Challenge, which was a pre-order demo for people who pre-ordered Hitman Absolution on Steam or at GameStop. While it may not be my favorite game in the series, I can still see the merit in the game's ambition and achievement. The only thing truly holding this game back is its AI. With what IO learned here, they continued to march on to the creation of the next installment in the series, Hitman Contracts. If you made it this far into the video, I just want to say thanks for watching. I know it's been quite a ridiculous amount of time between the release of the first episode of this series and this one. Unfortunately, this video just kept getting pushed back more and more with other projects that I wanted to work on over it. But I think in doing so allowed this video to be far better in my opinion than the Codename 47 one. Because looking back, I really dislike how the Codename 47 retrospective kind of just devolves into a recap of each level and how they work, which is why I tried to keep that to a minimum in this episode. But I'm interested to hear your opinion on what you like more, the style of video for Codename 47 or the style for this video. And if you really like this video or my channel in general, maybe consider becoming a patron on Patreon. I'm currently trying to revamp it and have some new features. $1 tier has you in the credits at the end of the video, and a $5 tier that allows you to submit questions that will appear at the end of each video. Just go to the community tab once you become a $5 tier patron. As for what you should expect next on the channel, I have a Halloween video planned, and then after that will finally be the GX video that everyone's been asking about. Again, thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.